Hi everyone, in this video I'll be sharing 30 of my own opinions. They will be short but not sweet, so leave a score below on how many you agree with. 10 out of 30, 20 out of 30. If you agree with all of them, it's just a sign that we need to be best friends, so let me know. Just a quick reminder, these are just some of my personal opinions that I hold currently. These can definitely change as I grow and learn more. These are not hate, and as a longtime fan of the genre who spent a lot of time and money on it, I have the right to point out some aspects of it that I do not particularly like. And with all of that boring stuff out of the way, let's get into it and leave your scores in the comments below. Meaningful songs aren't necessary in any way, and honestly, lighthearted songs are what we need sometimes. But if that is all an artist makes or releases, do not expect them to be treated like artists who are able to be vulnerable and raw in their songs, especially if they write it themselves. There is a lot of artistry that goes into making songs with meaningful lyrics, from the poetry element to all of the feelings needed to sing these parts. So, like it or not, artists with meaningful songs just get a bit more credit. It's rhyme and poetry. I am not listening to anyone calling their faves the best rapper if they don't write their raps, because they're just doing half the job. This one is really not that serious, but it is really cringy when fans reach so hard trying to make their faves seem funny and it just doesn't work, so just accept that they're not funny. Dozens don't deserve hate, but there is a very real reason for people not to like them, knowing how many actually talented trainees have to let go of their dreams because of beauty standards, or not coming from rich families. Dozens are like K-pop's nepo babies. It's not entirely their fault, but acknowledge the privilege because it is very real. Nobody sane should be caring about KBS beauty standards in 2023. We are definitely not going to be giving human beings percentages based on how pale and tall they are. Fans need to stop making excuses for idols who constantly slack off during performances. I am all for taking rests and prioritizing health, but it is clear when the issue is lack of energy or an injury, and when it's lack of care and interest. This amount of leeway would not be given to anyone and any other job. This is also a job. People throw buckets of money at you. The least you could do is give them the show they deserve. Why are we hyping up mediocre performances when idols like Wendy exist, who broke half her body and still slays the stage? When idols like Jimin do this not even a month after an appendix surgery? When idols like Suga perform for almost 9 years with a busted shoulder? Don't get me wrong, I'm not saying you need to endure that much pain. Rest if you must, but come on, if smiling and genuinely appreciating your fans takes this much effort, maybe you're in the wrong line of work. I genuinely enjoy G-Idol's message, their aesthetic, and performances, but they need to bring in a better songwriter to take out some of their cringy lyrics. ITZY's hate train is so forced. Their songs may not be your style, but none of their releases are actually bad quality or lazily made. You'll never catch me watching a K-pop survival show because 99.9% are completely rigged based on racism, beauty standards, and connections, and it's just not worth it to get emotionally invested. Lip syncing is only excusable occasionally. If it's a regular occurrence, then singing isn't for you. BTS are 100% the blueprint, and if they aren't, then tell me why every other group is following their career moves to a T. I'm not entirely too sure how to feel about K-pop's TikTok challenges because on the one hand, it has opened up the chance for idols to interact and make content together without there being a lot of drama, but on the other hand, choreographies and songs have started catering to it way too much, and the amount of TikToks with the same song being shoved down our throats makes the song feel cringy, and it gets older faster. If people call out female idols, it's not always misogyny. Maybe that idol just needs to be called out. Saying a male idol would get away with it might be true, but it doesn't erase what the female idol did. Jennie is fully Korean. I really didn't think I'd have to explain this one, but for some reason, Blinks just really like to whitewash her. 5 years doesn't suddenly mean Jennie is from New Zealand. I don't know why some blanks act like being Korean would somehow lower Jennie's status and appeal. Like, you do realize Jennie Ruby Jane is a made-up stage name, and it's actually Kim Jennie, born in Korea, lives in Korea, works in Korea with Korean parents under a Korean company. A lot of K-pop stans do not take racism against Daisies or South Asians seriously, and it shows. Racism is racism. You cannot pick if racism against a certain group is worse than another. I honestly don't care if it isn't fair, but random grown men and women shouldn't be allowed to sit down and have private conversations with underage idols under the guise of a fan meeting. Logically, why would you let a child talk to a grown-ass stranger? Idols who use their fans for money and money alone and then give them songs bragging about having a lot of money are cringy. Please have some perspective and humility. Every single idol needs to complete high school education. University isn't mandatory, especially if they choose to be in the entertainment field for the rest of their lives, but basic high school education is essential and a basic right, especially in K-pop, where the average career length is around 7 years. These idols have to return to the real world with nothing but debts, trauma, and no education. While BTS, like everyone else, have made actual mistakes for which they should be and have been held accountable, you cannot deny that a lot of BTS's hate is based on double standards. An example is when BTS were set to be covering I'll Be Missing You. People said it would be disrespectful since it is a meaningful song for those familiar with the rap industry and how it was insensitive to Black culture, even though BTS's cover was done respectfully and tastefully. But now, K-pop groups are doing funky dances to that same song on TikTok, but it's completely fine. Wonyoung is a great idol. I don't understand people who say she has no talent. She might not stand out in any particular category, but she is a pretty balanced idol with pleasant vocals, great dancing, and amazing stage presence. But people tend to ignore all of that for her looks, especially her fans who fixate on her looks and looks alone. And to me, it seems damaging to anyone to focus only on their looks, which is possibly why she sometimes focuses on looking good over acting natural. All of the pressure to always look good can be very stressful, and then she gets called a pick-me. She can't win. Complimenting idols who speak English who grew up outside of Korea in an English-speaking country is dumb. They know English for the same reason most of us do. For idols who learn after, sure, they do deserve praise. But for people whose first language is literally English, what exactly are you praising? The opportunity they had to be born somewhere else? A backtrack is meant to be played in the back. It usually has ad-libs and harmonies that singers cannot sing along with the main track at the same time. But if the backtrack is so loud that idols use it to lip-sync, then it isn't a backing track anymore. You are just lip-syncing to a playback. And then idols can just yell over the playback occasionally and fans pretend they cannot clearly hear their voices coming from the back. Members of a K-pop group should be allowed to fool around and pull each other's legs. It doesn't make them a bully if they're just playing around. But that also doesn't mean we take colorism and fat shaming as playful banter. There is a limit. If someone paves the way for another artist, it doesn't mean the paver deserves all the credit for making that artist famous. It just means that the paver had to face a lot of locked doors on their path that the artists that then followed their path didn't have to stop to unlock. They could simply walk through. But they still had to do their own walking. So while BTS definitely paved the way, it's not like they deserve credit for everyone else's success. Keeping that in mind, it is still ironic when fans of K-pop groups, especially those from HYBE or those that directly benefited from BTS making K-pop an international phenomenon, then make disgusting remarks against BTS. Like, Please, no one thought about Billboard charts, Grammy nominations, American talk shows, the VMAs, AMAs, BBMAs, etc. before BTS made it attainable, so have some respect. Some quote foreign K-pop idols are simply not funny or cool just because they use internet slangs or memes a month after they were relevant, or insert AAV into their speech. Comedy is subjective, but let's be real for a second. Sexualizing Jihoo and recently Karina and Inbi is so weird. Like, yes, they are grown women and sexy, but constantly talking about their breasts or saying this, which I won't even say because I refuse to believe that's an actual phrase. I thought we weren't okay with sexualizing unnecessarily. Just because an idol wore something revealing once or has bigger breasts doesn't mean we constantly talk about it or make slow-mo compilations. Some labels like Golden Magne and Korea's Big Sister, etc. are fine because they came up organically, but at this point, fans are just making up these labels and giving it to every single K-pop idol based on their bias. And it's dumb because what is the difference between Golden Visual, Nation's Visual, Korea's Visual, and Original Visual? Like, just compliment them like a normal person. Speaking of labels, if you have to add terms like first K-pop girl group in 4th gen, not from Big 3 in 2023, excluding soloists from here to there, etc. to make it seem like your favorite groups were the first to achieve something, then sorry, they're not the first. Anyone can be the first if we add that many filters. K-pop really needs to chill with this illusion of perfection because this is not what idol skin really looks like. This is. And you know when idols use blankets over their legs? Well, initially I thought it was to protect themselves when wearing skirts, but apparently it is also because when you sit down, your thighs naturally tend to look bigger, which is also why most K-pop idols sit like this when in public. Because God forbid their already perfect body should ever look, quote, imperfect even just for a second. And those are all of the opinions you'll be getting from me today. Some more saucy than others, but all meant to be just some observations and opinions that I hold. Not something I expect everyone to feel the same way about, naturally, but I'd love to know how many you agree with, and if you disagree, let's have a polite debate in the comments below. As long as we are all civil, it's great to open up conversations on these topics. Please like this video and subscribe to my channel if you found it fun or entertaining, and I'll see you in my next one.